Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
One click is the difference between winning or watching. And this is the fastest click in the world. Powered by revolutionary HITS technology. With custom actuation, rapid trigger reset, and click intensity. Tuned to your competitive play. We didn't just evolve the click. We reinvented it. Built on the precision of Hero 2. Trusted with Lightspeed wireless. Forged in a championship-winning design. And made yours through G-Hub. Pro X2 Super Strike. Designed with pros. Engineered to win.
Screaming, tires bleeding, virtual cubes, the motor's breathing, engine thunder from down under, piston fire, turn asunder, put your name in lights. Oh, with the Vets tonight, it's a 1,000 decibel supercar fight, burn this track to the ground with V8 sound. Steel, but the
There's no greater challenge than the green hell, the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and there's no greater Thursday night racing series than RaceKraft V8 Vets. Tonight is going to be an incredibly interesting challenge for all of the drivers as their high-powered but ill-handling machines take on 170 turns of the iRacing Nürburgring Gesamtstrecke 24-hour layout. And this is our season so far and to come as we bring you live coverage on SimSpeed TV. It began at another great track on a mountain, Mount Panorama Circuit. Wayne Walker kicked off his title defense with a win there and then went on to take a win at Road America. Brian Borg, recently in Split 1 and recently in V8 Vets, took his first race win at round 3. Since then, it's been back on the Wayne Walker show, including a slightly rain-interrupted 300 kilometers from Fuji Speedway last week. We were scheduled for 200 kilometers and 8 laps today on the Nordschleife, but impending track maintenance, iRacing server maintenance, will cut this race slightly shorter to just 5 laps. Apologies for not bringing you your previously scheduled value, but we do what we can to get a race in on Thursday night. Absolutely just doing what you can, and really agile thinking from the series administrators to make sure not only could we go racing tonight, but that the racing will hold and officially score for results as well without any risk of interruptions. David Haynes with Jay Kennedy for our live coverage on SimSpeed TV. Well, what are we going to learn about at this critical juncture now, Jay?
Yeah, not much in regards to the format for tonight. It's pretty straightforward. 5-lap race, and the tank of fuel holds about 4 laps worth of fuel. So fill it up or keep it full at the start. Race for as long as you can. Pit with 1 lap to go. Top it up for that 1 lap and go from there. If you have trouble on lap 1, you'll come in early and you should be able to make it home from there as well. So it does make it interesting in that aspect. It means that your race isn't completely ruined if you have a bad start to the race. You can alternate your strategy and you're still in somewhat of the race. You're not completely out of it at the start. So it does mix it up a little bit. It does mean that there is a second chance.
Fantastic. So a slightly different arrangement tonight. Qualifying underway right now before they get to the race. Things all really squished in to fit the time certain window. This one's not just, to please TV. It's because of the iRacing server maintenance.
Please the iRacing gods.
Yeah, this is the track. Gee, there's some real Reese Gardner humour in this, but he's spelt The Hague wrong, as he selected that as...
That would be me. That would be me with a typo. So I'll fix that when I do this next. It wouldn't be a track map without my typo. I would, yeah. For atrocities to mankind.
It's one thing to spell incorrectly in Dutch, and it's another to spell incorrectly in English. 26 kilometers. This says 154 turns. Some sources say 170. Different sources also say different lengths, because this says 25.94. iRacing says 25.95. Racing reference on racingcircuits.info says 25.74. or something. It's a bit of an enigma. It's a bit of a myth in some ways as well. It's Bigfoot. No one's ever really seen all of it, the Nordschleife. And I think just that little bit of uncertainty of questions leads into the myth and the legend and the challenge of the place. The first part of the lap, the Grand Prix circuit before you turn onto the famous Nordschleife through the very twisty Hutzenbach section. Some quick parts up towards Vlugplatz and Arenberg, and then up the top of the hill towards, Adenauer Forst. You You've got some challenging and slower sections like Miss Hit Miss, Verzeifen, and Cullenhard. Things are pretty quick up towards the Bravery corner, but then the back half of the lap, incredibly twisty, slow, blind, and crests and challenges for the incredibly long Dotting Ahoy to finish the lap.
Interesting thing with qualifying just finishing, only half the drivers actually got a lap in qualifying.
Yes, it was a 10-minute session. I think if they weren't immediately out there and immediately pushing, a few of them were going to miss it. Wayne Walker, though, sets an 8:29 for pole position ahead of Jason Spriggs. And then looks like Paul Young and Troy Stone Street, row 2. Wayne Sanderson and Jamie McKnight are row 3 for the standing start. Gee, that's the correct names in the correct positions, but not the correct graphics at all. Dan Hall
I was trying to fix
in
it on the
7th,
fly.
in the Evolution Racing Team Mustang. Dean Flavel, that's not so far off for him, starting out at 8th. Brad Doble from 9th and Matthew Stoyles from 10th. Do you know what? That looks right.
better.
Yep, that's closer to what I was expecting.
There we go. Now we're right. Keep going, David.
Darren Goosey and Matt Brunt, 11th and 12th. And then 13th is Ken Latter from Simon Heddershide now. And I think in some of the drivers with no qualifying times, we are gridded by iRating here. Scott McKenzie, Shane Randell, Justin McLean, Mark Poynton, Steve Kennedy, David Nash, Ray Smith, Dean Logsdale, Jeff Thomas, Chad Lewis, John Gallen, Luke Allman, Ricky Hyde, Travis Hunt, and Lorne McKee. 80 litres of fuel for everyone. 5 laps ahead of us with 1 compulsory pit stop. Even if you could fuel save to make 5 laps, that wouldn't include your compulsory pit stop. 10 seconds to green to get us underway. Wayne Walker, the championship leader, on the pole position with the pole qualifying time, looks towards the chicane that opens up the lap, and he drives incredibly well off the line. So does Troy Stone Street, slotting from 4th immediately up into 2nd. Spriggs not getting away, back into 4th. Downhill, almost a little bit of contact, definitely a little bit of contact there. Paul Young gets turned around by one, gets turned around by another. And there's a car park with plenty of door banging happening in the opening chicane. Wayne Walker, oblivious to all of it, as the championship leader leads them down towards the Goodyear chicane hairpin. Stone Street into 2nd, Spriggs back up into 3rd, Sanderson in 4th. Ken Latter, from no qualifying time, has picked off 7 cars already.
And Simon Heddershire did pick up a black flag for a jump start penalty as well. So not a great start for him. A long lap to get around to come and serve that penalty. But as I said before, because this is a one-stop race, you have to come in and pit, serve that. Basically, not completely out of the race with this just being one stop tonight as well.
So with an incredibly jumbled grid and about half of them not being able to set a qualifying time in the one single lap that was available to them, there are some drivers charging hard through the field. And this is one of the tracks we often think of as really having its specialists, drivers who excel at this track. The other side of that coin being others who really fear how much there is to learn and know about the 170 turns here. Fast chicane track limits can be a challenge here. We ride on board with Luke Allman and we take a look at him, who joins us from the Zoom feed, and at some point, I reckon deeper in the race, we'll take a look at everyone on the Zoom wall as well, but we'll bring you some of them as we go on this opening lap.
We do have a few drivers on the Zoom wall. There's a few drivers that have been having some issues getting into the server with the last second change to the race as well. So there's a few drivers that were on the Zoom wall but have had to abandon the race, which is a bit unfortunate. But other than that incident we saw right at the start, everyone has got away reasonably okay, which is great to see as well.
Through the Hudson-Buck we go, and one of the places where you begin to encounter the really tall curbs that these cars can climb over the top of a little bit, but there are some steeper curbs in other places that even these cars will have to avoid. Looking for a pass at Flugplatz. That looks like Shane Randell on the inside of Matt Brunt, and it is. But then the strike back on the exit of that double apex corner. Matt Brunt holds on. Shane Randell thought he had it, might have overcooked it a little bit. Mark Poynton moves ahead of him. High speed here towards the crest into Schwegenkreuz,
Oh, no.
and there's contact. Randell gets sent into the outside wall in contact with Jamie McKnight.
And Ray Smith also having issues. Another car off, as you said, McKnight was the other car that could get involved, but I don't think he was at fault there, was he? He just sort of was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think Randell definitely coming off worse for wear there, but we'll push on up a bit further forward. Kenny Ladder, what a start from him. No qualifying time. As you said, he got a great launch away. Already up in a 6th position, and he's putting a lot of pressure here on Brad Doble for 5th.
Overtaking places are going to become harder to find for a little bit here. Challenging braking zone just there with a kink leading into then the main part of the braking zone down into Cullenhard. Usually want to take a late apex here as Brad Doble's discovered he's pushed in a little bit hot, pushed out wide. Ken Ladder knows where the track goes. And into the compression they're approaching Dreifach. He makes the move up into 5th as Doble slides off into the Armco. This is across the crest. These cars get so light. Jamie McKnight just wafts a little bit to the left as Shane Randell moves a little bit to the right. Both of them were walking in the air,
I think that's
and
just,
they've made a bit of contact.
that's just one of those situations where both cars have just got no grip because the front wheels have both lifted off the ground at the same time. So I don't know if you're going to actually call anyone at fault in that incident. Race Control's going to have a little bit of fun trying to work that out. But yeah, I've just seen also Dean Logsdale has abandoned his run and he's back in the pit lane as well.
Looks like a incredibly delayed pit lane start for Dean Logsdale.
Yeah, possibly. He
To
might have only
me.
got into the server.
So 4 minutes late with a pit lane start potentially for Dean Logsdale. We look at Dan Hall. There's a bit of damage on his car after the opening of the lap. And has he put a little bit more on it? No, I think this is looking like a clean move so far versus Dean Flavel for Dino Dino. But certainly at the turn 1, Dan Hall found a spun Paul Young, and that's where most of the damage comes from, the splitter, but also around the front left wheel. Wayne Walker breaking away here, a 4-second lead as they go through the carousel. Make sure you get a shot of that, Jay. That's what everyone's here to see. Troy Stone Street and Jason Spriggs completing the chicane as I patronise one of the hardest working people at SimSpeed TV. Popping out of the chicane and back into it, Darren Goosey. Darren Goosey, and John Gallen also pops out of the groove and finds the Armco.
Yeah.
Behind, yes, Gallen at what?
Yeah, much worse when you pop out of it and into the wall, though. It's okay if you pop out of it and continue on, but if you pop out of it and into the wall, that's never a good sign. And John Gallen, a long way back to the pits, but as we said before, you can continue on and get back into the race. It's not the end of your night like it would normally be, and you find yourself lapped down or back of the field. You can get yourself back into some sort of contention if you can just maintain some sort of speed. Get yourself back around. Oh, there's actually contact there. So he got a little hit from behind in the approach to the carousel. So that explains a little bit more of that. I don't think John Gallen really popped out of the carousel. He never really got a chance to get in there.
Yeah, he didn't fall off the horse. He was never on it, and he's got quite a bit of damage.
Yeah.
Goosey seemed to be driving like he might have got a bit of suspension damage off of his contact as well, but this is actually one of the parts where if you're not familiar or confident with the racetrack, from here, the carousel around to Schwalbenschwanz is the hardest part. It's the blindest. It's got the most jumps tall curbs, double, triple apexes, and we ride with Chad Lewis in 15th position. He started from the very back of the field as well and is up 10 spots. In the absence of qualifying times, about 2/3 of the fields, he's got a car to his right here, were gridded based on their I rating, which is actually, for these drivers who do a lot of league racing, not always representative of their pace. Here's the Kleinis carousel, and neither of the drivers ahead of us get a whole lot of it. Matt Brunt and Paul Young both on the high side of that. But we're about to come onto the Dottingerhoor, and in fact, a lot of the cars up the road are on it already. Jason Spriggs, the driver who got into Paul Young and spun him around at the opening part of this lap, has received a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, I was just about to say Spriggs is going to have to come down the pit lane. See that pack just went past there? That's Matthew Stoyles, Favel, McLean, Poynton and Ullman all together in a big group of cars. Have a look at this. Run down the straight.
Well, a massive slipstream at the end of the Dottingerhoor, underneath the Bilstein Bridge and into the Tiergarten. This is one of those chicanes you can climb across a little bit of the curb, and they will at the apex, but you want the car to be pretty planted on the exit. Some drivers are going to be looking for repairs. Some are going to be serving their penalties. Some are thinking an early pit stop might be the way to go. So there is a rush on pit lane, but you can tell who's practiced it, Jay.
Yeah, 100%. And there's a few that we saw. Was it the 24 or the race that was on 6 hour or whatever it was before the 24? Max Verstappen gained ground and gained positions in the pit entry there. So you can gain time at pit entry. We've said that at many a track before. Most notably at Okayama, we've said it many times. So you can gain a lot of ground if you don't practice that pit entry. You leave yourself vulnerable to lose positions time and time again. And we'll see it tonight, no doubt.
Yeah, if you don't practice, you can leave 0.2 of a second per lap on the table. If you don't practice the pit entry, you can leave 5 seconds on the table. It's massive. So we're on board with McKnight, taking a look at this pack. Ray Smith, Darren Goosey, Travis Hunt and Matt Brunt ahead of us. Two drivers that had no qualifying time but have gained a lot of positions here are Travis Hunt and Ray Smith. Hunt's just in behind Matt Brunt. I think. Look at this. Who was the last driver to get a qualifying time?
Interesting that only half.
It was Matt Brunt.
Yeah,
so
Matt
everyone
Brunt.
who started behind Matt Brunt had no qualifying time.
And Travis Hunt started 28th, is up into 11th, so he's in this group. Interesting that only half the field actually registered an official lap time in that first lap as well, which is in a way not surprising because it is very, very, very easy to run off the circuit throughout this racetrack as well. So whilst I'm not too surprised that only half the field got a registered lap time, I'm surprised that it's only half the field that got a registered lap time. Tell you who's got pace is Kenny Latta. He's now caught up to Spriggs and Stone Street.
Yep, we looked at him, he was 7th, then he was 6th, now he's 4th. And he's, staring down the back of the podium here. And then Spriggs in 2nd's got a penalty looming. So really, you're looking at 2nd and 3rd right here. The inside of the Flugplatz. Kenneth Latta shows his nose. I think he knew he wasn't that far up, but he's maybe hoping to scare Troy Stone Street just a little bit here. But this is one of the places that you do get incredible speed. So Ken Latta doing 280 k's an hour.
I knew you'd like this shot. Yes, those are front wheels off the ground.
Yep, and down the inside at Arenberg after Schwedenkreuz. Ken Latta is into 3rd. It'll become 2nd. But Wayne Walker still pulling away. We'll see if Latta and Walker can trade some lap times a little bit later in this race, if there's anyone that's got an answer for that.
How cool's that?
Yeah, a bit of Max Verstappen.
Can't ask for much more than wheels off the ground.
Matt Brunt continuing to be suffering from the success of actually putting down a qualifying time and finding quite a few drivers behind him.
Travis Hunt, just at the front of this group, as we said, he's done a really good job maintaining the pace and finding his way forward. He's gained 17 positions from where he started the race. And I must say, I'm just watching him on Zoom. He's actually looking really, really calm. He's really stress-free. He's looking very composed. He's not stressed about what's going on. And a little chew on some chewing gum. He's rather stress-free. He's not worried about what's going on behind him. He's away from that big battle pack. And he's actually pulling a little bit of ground away from them and starting to catch up to Chad Lewis in front of him.
Yeah, that jaw's always moving. Like a 90s nightclub.
Because I know you wanted to see it.
Yep, this is our Zoom wall. Wayne Sanderson in the top left. Ray Smith, we've seen he's in part of that pack. Luke Orman, Jeff Thomas, Dan Hall, giving us a cam. Didn't give us a cam last week when he was driver of the day. Maybe he thought I was going to give something away in that weather. Not expecting any rain tonight. And Travis Hunt, as we saw, and Greg Sharp, well, he's fixed the angle on his camera, but he has not got into the race. So we're seeing him read Discord messages and supplementary regs or something like that.
He was having some tech issues as well, because I saw him join a session and then he was having some tech dramas trying to get the VR working as well. So he might have been having some dramas.
Alan Hard
runs wide.
Or was that... that would have been Bergwerk, in fact. Exit of Bergwerk. Corner tightens late, like a few corners do here. Getting too hot. Find the wall.
I can tell you why Dan Hall didn't have his camera up last week. During the Logitech Pro Invitational, he had a bit of an incident with one of the drivers that was on Zoom, with Angus Lawford, who was on Zoom, and he was fantastic because he showed how much emotion you actually have, how much concentration, and Dan just remembered that when he's having his Zoom camera on, he shows us how much emotion and how much anguish he shows on camera, and decided he didn't really like how much he shows to us sometimes, so he didn't do it last week. He was a bit embarrassed by how much he shows, so he's decided to put the embarrassment away.
Two drivers having problems with the ponies again there. It was... who did I see? Simon Hetterscheid and maybe Matt Brunt struggling to stay in the groove of the carousel as these cars move and bounce around. Right on board with Jason Spriggs, looking backwards from second place. Ken Latta, if you haven't made your move this far around the lap, it's not happening till the Dottingerhoor. There's another one of the jumps in the Flansgarten. We've been through Bruntian, Ice Curve, Vipperman, approaching the Stefan Belloff S and Schwalbenschwanz and the Kleinus Carousel. There's another one of the places you can get airborne. There's all too many around here for these cars at the Nordschleife. I'd call it Flugplatz, Schwedenkreuz, that jump there. Even the way into Verseifen. Spriggs has gone a little wide, the left-hander at Schwalbenschwanz. Now into the Kleinus Carousel we go. Ken Latta is all over him.
I think with the amount of weight that these cars have, that they would be less susceptible to getting air, but I think in a way it almost counteracts it. Because they have so much weight, they almost lose that center of gravity a little bit and find the air travels underneath the car a little bit easier. But Spriggs will probably struggle to maintain this position because the draft is so strong down this straight here. So that's 7 or 8 kilometres an hour faster for Ken Latta just using the slipstream.
Yeah, it's big. Not sure exactly where the rev limiter sits, but Ken Latta goes through into second. Spriggs will be thinking about when to serve that penalty, but I think if you get 3 laps, it actually it behooves you to wait a lap or two, because by the time you're 16 minutes down the road,
they're both coming together.
Yeah, Ken comes in too. Actually, is going to save you a lot of traffic. Field spread will be big here with the skill differences that the Nürburgring Nordschleife exposes. But Ken Latta in for a pit stop. Jason Spriggs to serve the penalty at least. Wayne Walker lays down an 8.33, actually slower than he'd done on a previous lap. Stone Street carries on with an 8.38, Sanderson 8.38, Brad Doble 8.40. That's the difference that Wayne Walker has got. 7 seconds compared to these drivers. The only ones that really could compare, I think Spriggs and Latta, well, they just pitted in. We'll see what some other drivers deeper in the field can pull out. 8.41 from Travis Hunt.
Latta rejoins, and he's got Steve Kennedy right with him, who started from the pit lane. Brunt is there. Hedderscheid, who, remember, he has a black flag from the jump start, so he still has to serve that.
Really quick pit stop, starting with the 80 litres of fuel.
Yeah, you only
It's
need one lap of
basically
fuel.
just to cover the tyres here as well. So 12 seconds from Ken Latta at his one and only stop for this race. He hopes brings him back out still in 11th. Just cleared Steve Kennedy there, which I think was pretty valuable. And then there's a bit of clear track up towards where Goosey and Smith are. He'll probably catch him by the end of this lap, though. I reckon. No, I give him to. I give him to Adnauer Force before he's on them.
David Nash here also started in pit lane. He will. What did he actually? No, he did start in pit lane. I'm just confirming that. He will get the move done here. It looks like on Lorne McKee. No, in the chicane.
Always tempting to have a look down the inside here, coming onto the Nordschleife, just so you don't end up stuck behind them on the Hartzenbach, but it doesn't work out. Sabina Schmidt's curve, downhill left, always a late apex. And then really flowing section here. You got to know, don't hit that curb, don't hit this curb. But then later on, there's a few that you can clamber over. You always get tricked into braking too late here as it continues downhill with a little change of direction, and that red and white tyre barrier claims so many victims. Now it's climb the curbs time. On the way in, on the exit, maybe not that much. Lorne?
As you said, you really don't know where to try and make that overtake. You can get sucked into trying to make an overtake, but then you can end up costing you and the driver that you're trying to battle with so much time by getting stuck side by side. You just lose so much ground really, really quickly when you cannot get the overtake done. So you're better off just maintaining behind and waiting for these big, long, full throttle opportunities, and Hedderscheid will get on through.
Yeah, it was Brunt pushing wide at Flugplatz. 2 got through, but with a little bit of a check-up, Nash, 4 wheels in the grass, gets it back on the road and makes the spot on the way into Arenberg. It's crazy, this racetrack. Hedderscheid, Mackay, and Nash just get past. Ken Latta has caught and passed Darren Goosey before Adnauer Forst.
Yep. Latta had some really good pace. It'd be interesting to see what may have happened if he was able to get a qualifying time in. It's unfortunate he couldn't quite get it in. So,
just put a pin in Ken Latta's 45 seconds behind the race leader at the moment. I don't expect that to actually grow that much, except barring a little bit of traffic.
Yep.
Nash finally gets an opportunity. Versus Mackay. But the track tightens on the way in there.
Tell you what, Nash did a really good job to make sure that that contact wasn't race ending for both of those guys. He did a really, really good job to just rub enough to unsettle both cars, but not cause a total spin. So well done to ensure that they're both continuing on in this race, because that could have been a race over for both. Continue on. Walker is now out to a 14 and a half second lead as Logsdale comes in for his pit stop.
4 minutes delayed. Dean Logsdale taking that service. John Gallen still on the tow hook and perhaps out of this race after what we saw. We take a look at Wayne Sanderson up in third at the moment after the penalty for Spriggs at the pit stop for Ken Latta. He's got a fair chunk of German countryside all to himself. That's fine, so long as you're not a German taking someone else's countryside.
Interesting, when Spriggs came into the pits before, he did just serve the drive-through penalty. He did not take his compulsory pit service, so he will have to come back in again. Doble is not gaining ground on Sanderson, but Poynton and Spriggs together are gaining ground on Doble, so that'll be interesting to keep an eye on as the pit stop phase happens. And also gaining ground, no surprise, Ken Latta is caught onto the back of Ray Smith and caught on relatively quickly.
And he's 45 seconds behind the outright race lead, but beginning to grow a little bit as he has McKnight and Smith just up ahead of him.
Tough
Smith
to get past now too.
Yeah, oh yeah, so tough. From the carousel to Schwalbenschwanz. A near impossibility unless Ray Smith bowls this thing off the road or sees how quickly Ken Latta is coming and kind of lets him have the inside of, I don't know, Brunchen or something. We go through Vipperman, 4 apex corner there where you really need to set up for the final exit. But Smith pushing a little bit wide. Ken Latta knows exactly where this road goes, and he's setting up for that look to the inside of Brunchen, perhaps. So we head down the hill, and then into the next corner. If the driver in front runs wide, Ken Latta can have a little bit of a cheeky peek. He's setting up to make it possible. If he sees Smith get in just a little bit hot to any of these corners, he's ready to put his nose there, but he knows it has to be a mistake from the other guy for it to work.
Tell that Latta has done a lot of laps of practice because he looks a lot smoother in regards to lines through here. He knows this track a lot better than most of the other drivers in this field. He looks like he's got this line worked out a lot better. He looks a lot more composed, a lot smoother. Also noticing that he's maintaining the higher rev range a lot higher than most of the other drivers have from what I've watched throughout practice and qualifying as well. So Latta doing a very, very nice job, and for his sake it's unfortunate that he's stuck behind Ray Smith, but Ray will be enjoying the challenge that he's been put under right now. Was there a little bit of contact there, but Smith's maintaining the position. Latta had to get on the brakes, so I'm going to say yes, there was a little bit of contact.
I think Smith had a bit of a slide exiting the Kleinis carousel, and then right there was the nose of Ken Latta. He's going to have to make his move down the front straight again. Wayne Walker comes in for his pit stop. Has Ken Latta covered by about 10 seconds easily, so what he doesn't need is a mistake, otherwise it'll be his and his easily to keep that race lead going. Ken Latta moves by on the Dottinger Hohe. Ray Smith had the opportunity, I think, to get back into the slipstream, doesn't do it. A couple other draft trains happening in the background. Has Sanderson slotting the gap in between Lorne McKee and Simon Hetterscheid. Everyone else who hasn't pitted yet coming into the lane. So Walker, Stone Street, Sanderson, Doble. The seas will part for Ken Latta, it seems. And Walker, just a simple 13-second pit stop. It's back out, still in the lead of this race.
Yeah, and I
think that was a double pass down the Dottinger Hohe for McLean there.
Yep, McLean from 16th to 14th in one foul swoop. It's the way to do it. Hetterscheid will come in here and he'll do his 40-second stop and hold penalty for the jump start at the same time as his pit service, which obviously is different penalty to what Jason Spriggs had. His penalty was a drive-through penalty, so he could not take his service at the same time. That will be the difference in regards to the penalties for those two. Time difference between Walker and Latta. So before the pit stops, what it was around about 8.5 seconds. It's now out to 12, which is probably just that little bit of difference from Ken Latta getting held up behind Ray Smith there on that second half of that previous lap. Not all that much of a difference between their pace at the moment.
Now, a week ago, we had something like only 8 drivers finish on the lead lap. You think we'll reverse that tonight?
I think everyone that finishes the race will be on the lead lap, would be my guess.
Even Dean Logsdale.
Yes.
Jeff Thomas has got Jason Spriggs right behind him. Spriggs has served that drive-through penalty, come in the next lap to take his pit stop, and ended up just behind Jeff Thomas in 10th place. So it's put Spriggs from battling for that top 3 to battling for the top 10, but he had very good pace, making a couple of moves past some guys in the early goings. Here he goes. A couple of trailing cars coming onto the Nordschleife as well. Flavel, Ullman and Poynton. It's a three-way fight just in the back here. Ullman and Poynton, again, 2 drivers. Son's qualifying times. Tell me what you think's happened in the pit stop for Simon Hederscheit.
I would guess he's either sped on pit entry or sped on pit exit.
I'd almost guess he's brimmed the fuel tank and not served the penalty. So just a regular long stop of taking too much fuel, and the penalty, the initial one, still looms, but I don't know for a precise fact other than to say that Simon Hederscheit runs 27th and still has a drive-through penalty to serve. Right here, Mark Poynton has a good run of speed in the double toe. That car will get so wafty then over the crest of that hill just there. Over the crest of the next hill too. Luke Ullman continues to look at Dean Flavel. As this goes on, Jamie McKnight's gotten closer too. So McKnight's got a fair chunk of speed. Off the road early goings will have cost a lot.
Just gone back and checked. He was not speeding on entry and not speeding on exit. And you can't get a penalty for unsafe entry, can you? No?
I've never seen it here.
No. No, he's all fine on entry. You can on exit. But I don't believe I noticed that the black flag ever cleared. So, no, his exit's fine as well. So, yeah, I think you're right. It just never actually cleared the black flag. Dan Hall ahead of Brad Doble, but this is relatively close as well.
Yeah, Hall pitted a lap ago. Doble's just on the out lap, and I assume has come out of his pit stop just behind Dan Hall. 2 drivers who both got qualifying times in, so that requires, I think, knowing about where the track limits are most of the way around. I see that either today, tomorrow, or this weekend, it's free to ride your bicycle on the Nordschleife. They're having a bike day. So does that tempt you, Jay?
If I was in Germany, it would definitely tempt me. I love a good ride of the old pushy. I may not look like I've got the physique to ride a pushy, but I do enjoy a bike ride.
If you've ever looked at Mount Panorama and thought, gee, it would be a bit of effort to get to the top there.
There's no chance of me riding that one.
Know that there's more elevation difference here than there is at the mountain.
Slightly more spread out though here.
I feel like it's also a little deceptive, like this one would get you, like uphill here.
Yes, you're right, it would.
That's Luke Ullman behind Dean Flavel. Poynton still ahead of McKnight. And ponies still to come at the carousel. These cars do not seem to look comfortable in that groove of the carousel. They seem to wobble around and not stay stuck in the groove like good slot cars. In the background, Travis Hunt just missed it.
The Logsdale's been in the pits for a long time. I think he might be deciding to finish up for the day. And you can see here too, Wayne Sanderson's got Justin McLean closing in relatively quickly as well. So don't be surprised if there's a pass for position number 4 coming up in the next little while between the teammates here. But McLean with some really good pace in this last 3/4 of a lap. Gain this ground as, oh no, Nash and Goosey have had an incident.
Yeah, coming up towards the highest part of the racetrack. Matt Brunt just squeaks through. Then there's Shane Randell looking for the inside, followed by Ray Smith, who had a long stop. Lorne Mackay also a long stop. So this is what happened. We're coming up the hill after the carousel.
No.
Not really an overtaking opportunity.
No.
Even in your wildest dreams.
Paul Young just got past Brad Doble, who, remember, was just behind Dan Hall, but he's dropped a fair way back behind him. So Doble losing a bit of ground and now has Chad Lewis closing in and Jason Spriggs, who, remember, had to come through from a penalty on lap 1.
Now, Ken Latta had a slowdown a little bit earlier. Not sure how you pull that off without catastrophe. Another group of drivers coming out onto the Zottingahua, reaching massive speeds, and Flavel, Allman, Poynton and McKnight. I think Luke Allman's going to fancy himself a chance here.
Poynton's in a good spot here too. Look at the speed. Poynton's got 295, 96, 97. No, not going to be able to get the move done, but close. As Wayne Walker starts the final lap.
Yeah, we'll see some lap times come through here, like Ken Latta, for example, 8:36 compared to we saw a 33, but also a 31 from Wayne Walker. 8:34 from Justin McLean. So he's moving along in this group here. Allman ahead. Poynton and McKnight still looking to get through.
Chad Lewis, 8:35, also very quick.
Yeah, exactly right.
Poynton wants to get this move done, doesn't he? He doesn't want to sit behind Dino anymore. He wants to get this move done, but just cannot work out where to get this position done. He had the momentum down straight before. He had the overspeed, but wasn't quite close enough to get the move done. Now he doesn't know where to go to get the move done. So have to try and work this out as Hedderscheid comes in to try and get this penalty served once again. Take 2 on that one.
I was doing some Nürburgring Nordschleife reminiscing the other week, and I looked up the results of my 2018 iRacing Nürburgring 24, where I won the Porsche Cup class. You know which drivers I beat that day in that class?
No idea.
Jimmy Broadbent
Never heard of him.
and Brenton Hobson.
Never heard of him either. Never heard of those two.
No, neither of them went on to achieve anything.
No, neither. No, I'm sure they haven't. Saying that Hobbo won't be too far away from joining this field. Too many years away from him being in this field of drivers.
You know, what I'm seeing here is Flavel's quite tidy, not aggressive. A few of the drivers around him a bit quicker, but in comparison to some other onboards we saw of drivers being, held up and trying to get past, he's not as messy as some others that are doing about the same pace as him. This is Chad Lewis, I think, making up another one. So he goes ahead of Brad Doble, who also lets Jason Spriggs go on the way into Schwedenkreuz.
So Spriggs now back up to ninth, making his way back forward. Probably taking him a little bit longer from how long he would have liked, considering he started in second and was in second for the entirety of the first lap and a half of the race. As McLean tries to have a little look. Cannot get the move done. On Sanderson is for 4th and 5th.
And there's no team orders here. I put to you, McLean's quick enough that if he had been let through, he'd probably be catching Stone Street for the podium.
I would agree.
I mean, the pace that McLean had last lap was an 8:34.
The gap at the front, we were saying it was around 14 seconds. It's now out to 21 and a bit. So Wayne Walker is just in a class of his own, isn't he? He's just driving away from the rest of the field. Been absolutely dominant this season. We'll pick up at this rate another one. But this track can bite in strange ways, so anything could happen. Still half a lap to go, and the most difficult part still to come. The most fun part as well, though.
Oh yeah, the part that most deserves a rally navigator. You got blind crests, keep leftover crests, stay right on exit. Yeah, well that's most of the Nordschleife, isn't it?
Jump.
Yeah, into right tightens over crest. That's wide from Flavel.
Yep.
Point and McKnight just behind him. Lorne McKee went off the circuit on the way to Verzeif, and McKnight gets too close behind the car in front, has a bit of a slide, loses one spot. Travis Hunt gets through, and I'm sure this time approaching the carousel, Travis Hunt's going to make sure to stay in the groove. Yep. McKnight likewise. Here, Lewis and Spriggs, pretty similar speed. They've dispatched of a few drivers as they've gone about this. Both of them got by Doble.
Yeah, they've already pulled nearly 3 seconds on Doble since they got past him. What was that, only a couple of kilometres ago? So they've really found some pace, and they're actually closing in on Paul Young. I wouldn't be surprised if they're right with Young by the end of the lap. So it'll be a very, very interesting end to this one. I've just seen McKee have a moment, and that's at the same spot as McKnight. He's facing the wrong direction, so that's unfortunate for him. But not much left for Wayne Walker to do from here.
No, Klein's carousel, Galgenkopf, dotting a her. He'll be pointing straight towards the finish line in a moment. And he's just got to complete that sprint home. A truncated RaceKraft V8 Vets race from the Nordschleife owing to iRacing server maintenance. And so 5 of 5 laps led from the pole position from Wayne Walker. Only one driver has been able to take a race win away from him this season. And Brian Borg not present for tonight's race. Literally just the one braking zone left at the bottom of the hill going into the Tiergarten. And a pretty dominant margin for Walker at the moment to Ken Latta and Troy Stonestreet. At the final corner, checkered flag, the longest circuit on iRacing, 170 turns, 26 kilometers. Wayne Walker has mastered every single one of them on his way to a new fastest lap of the race, an 8:29.28. Ken Latta, no qualifying time. Started 13th on the grid. It's going to finish in second. Troy Stonestreet in third. We'll have McLean not too far behind him as Spriggs looks for a late pass on Lewis.
And they're not far away from Young as well. Young outbrakes himself at the braking zone. They'll be there. They're within a second and a half. No, they're not going to get to him. So Young will hold on to 7th. Spriggs will get 8th, and 9th will go to Chad Lewis. Clavel will hold on to 13th. 14th will go to Poynton. Back here, McKenzie and Nash will run down the straight.
Nash will just get ahead on this one. And then Brunt, Hyde, and Goosey are going to go similar. Here's Hyde in the tow on Matt Brunt. He pulls alongside super late, almost makes a little bit of contact there. Now Goosey's got double dose of slipstream, but once we start heading downhill here, I think the game's up. And so that's Ricky Hyde making a pass that he's hoping to stick right on the final lap.
Oh, big slide there for Brunt, though. Hold on as well.
Yeah, and then Lorne McKee, Simon Hedershide, the last two drivers we're going to see. Hedershide did have to come back around to serve that drive-through as well. After the jump start, Dean Logsdale, it seems, out of this race. John Gallen, we lost to damage as well.
Yeah, McKee might still lose a spot here at the end. It's going to be very, very tight because he's got a lot of damage that he's picked up on this last lap. So is he going to be able to hold on to actually finish the race? Edershide is gaining bulk time incredibly quick. McKee has just lost 5 seconds within 200 odd meters. He's going to just hold on to the position, but I tell you what, it got incredibly close right at the end.
Yeah, there's the checkered flag there. Hedershide coming to the end of the race as well. I think someone did the Grand Prix circuit and looped back around to the pit entry. McLean and then some others as well. I think Troy Stonestreet did that. Interesting. Wayne Walker with the victory again. Dominant this season, and that dominance continues. We have one round left. See if someone else can stop him. Ken Latta and Troy Stonestreet completing the podium. Justin McLean from 18th on the grid to 4th. I reckon if Wayne Sanderson had wanted to see the team on the podium, McLean could have got there because in just half of the final lap, I believe McLean ran down about 3 seconds on Troy Stonestreet and was just outside of that slipstreaming range on the Dottinghahua on the final lap, which we saw was so powerful. There is Sanderson in 5th after a good qualifying. Dan Hall in 6th. Paul Young being spun twice on the opening lap. Still came back to 7th place. Spriggs passed Lewis on the Dottinghahua on the final lap. Brad Doble completed the top 10. Luke Orman finished 11th from Jeff Thomas, Dean Flavel, Mark Poynton, Travis Hunt, Jamie McKnight, Steve Kennedy, David Nash, Scott McKenzie, and Matthew Stoyles. Stoyles might have been one of the drivers who brimmed the tank too at the end of lap 1 with a 30-second stop. Shane Randell 21st, Ray Smith 22nd, also long stop for him. Ricky Hyde, Matt Brunt, and Darren Goosey right together at the end. Lorne McKeague, big damage on the final lap. Simon Hedderscheid, last car to finish the race after Logsdale and Gallen pulled aside. Well, we'll get to some of our podium drivers. Don't actually see either of them. I can see where Wayne Walker is. Can I see where our driver of the day, Ken Latter, is? Fishy. Scroll, scroll, scroll. A long journey to try to bring him. Let's try. Here I go. I'm the one going fishing. Nope, I don't think I have the power to drag drivers out of their rooms on this server, only if they've voluntarily joined the green room where Wayne Walker, the race winner, is and joins us. Back of the envelope maths, that'd have to be 850 turns later for you as race winner, Wayne.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest tracks, I reckon. Just so many corners and just hard to stay focused, and you can easy forget where you are on the track.
And all of that applies to qualifying as well. I've done a bit of qualifying here, and it's so nervous when you're, half the way, 2/3 of the way around a lap, and suddenly you can almost be too conservative, trying not to throw it away.
Yeah. I think there was a couple of moments on my quali lap where I thought I was gonna get an off track. It's one of those things. The easier you drive to try and not get one, the more likely you get one. So it's a hard one with quali on this track, especially when you've only got one shot at it. And then some guys didn't even get to finish a quali lap because the timer ran out before they finished.
Yeah. If I read this right, you set pole with an 8:29. Matt Brunt got a time in of an 8:51. I think everyone else maybe should have been not sitting on their hands. If you can be 22 seconds slower than you and still set a time.
I think because there was only that 5-minute time period to get into the server, I think some people got in a bit late and like quali had already started, and it was a little bit of a stuff around, but it would have been good to see everybody be able to get a quali lap in, but just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. That made it more challenging.
Yeah,
for everyone.
Yeah, it's like Ken had to come from towards the back, and so he did a good job to get up to second.
So talk us through your strategy then. You perhaps could have gone and pitted one lap later, but either way, you didn't really encounter any traffic.
Yeah, like if it was 8 laps like it was meant to be, I was just going to do 4 and 4. But being dropped back to 5, I wanted to pit on lap 3, so then I could like my last lap, low fuel, I could, push for the fastest lap. So I was always going to pit the end of lap 3. There was not really much point in doing the 4.
Your final lap of the race was 0.2 quicker than your pole time. What do you attribute that to?
Oh, I think lower fuel in the race, but also quality just being a bit conservative, not pushing it to the limit. But that race lap, I had a couple of moments in that lap as well. So, but no off tracks.
Well, fantastic. We've got just one round left. We're really looking forward to that, Wayne.
Yeah, Adelaide. That's good track, but you can easily get in trouble there. One mistake and you're in a wall, and either needing a tow or limping back to pits. So, I'm pretty sure all I have to do is finish the race. So, but I'll still be trying as hard as I can for the win, though.
Just scraping in with a modest lead. Those zoom points are really coming in handy, Wayne.
Yeah, well, I actually, because the server only had 5 minutes in that, and I got in right as quali started, I forgot to even turn my my camera on tonight, and then it went from quali straight to the grid. So I didn't end up having that on tonight, but yeah, it'll be back on next week.
Not a moment to be wasted in tonight's racing. Well done, Wayne, and we'll see you there at Adelaide.
Yep, thank you.
Podium coming by, including second place Ken Latter, 11 positions gained, and M1 Used Cars Driver of the Day.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Talk us through your strategy then. You pitted, I guess, what I'd call a little on the early side, given you had traffic to clear. But were you looking at it sort of maybe the other way? You were looking at some cars ahead and thought, I'll pit now.
It was just more if a safety car came. Just want to make sure it was done.
I ask with a little bit of naivety, what did you expect a safety car to look like? We've done it before, but wouldn't it make very little difference?
Oh, I don't know, but if they bunch the field, it depends when it happens, I suppose. I don't know. I really got no idea. Wasn't really thinking about it too much. I just sort of led into the race. I missed qualifying. And just trying to get through the field, and that's all I was sort of thinking. I wasn't really thinking anything else apart from that.
So what parts of the lap do you think you had some advantage? I'm looking through here, and I believe you have second fastest lap of the race, second only to Wayne. So good pace when you found a clear bit of track.
Yeah, well, I think it was on the lead-in lap. I was sitting behind Ray, and he split sideways in that second part where you got to get into that curbing before you go into the back straight, that big long straight, and I damaged the front of my car then, and then didn't really have as much of a pace as I should have, but once again, Wayne's been flying around this really quick around this track this week. Considering it's a track that I've probably known for 15 years or more. But yeah, it's always good to come here.
What can you expect from Adelaide in a week's time?
Hopefully it's a close one. The last time I was here, I think the last time we did a big race, it was an enduro. We had good success and won it. So definitely got some reasonable pace there. Hopefully it's enough to maybe compete for the win. The win would be nice.
Well, awesome. Congrats on your race today. A bit of a quick, sharp one, but 11 spots up. Some good overtakes and second place.
All right, thank you.
We've got another driver from the podium who'll come for a quick chat. Troy Stone Street. Hello, good qualifying, and that proved pretty important today.
Yeah, it did, but I
Well,
just found
helpful.
out it was unofficial, wasn't it?
I'll be honest,
that
I
right?
don't know. Perhaps.
Yeah. Well, it's saying in Discord that splits 1 and 2 are declared non-event unofficial rounds, which is disappointing, but anyway, is what it is.
But do you have a good familiarity with the Nordschleife, or have you spent the last week
No,
pounding around
no,
practice?
no, I haven't. That was just pretty much luck, I guess, that a lot of guys didn't get to put their quali in, and I felt I had decent pace, but certainly not. I don't think I had top 3 pace. Put it that way, I probably had maybe from 5th to 8th sort of pace, but yeah, it was just lucky. I think Paul Young got tangled up in turn 1, and then I was had a bit of a gap the whole race end, so it was just kind of keep my concentration, trying to remember where the track went really.
Justin McLean's fastest lap of the race was 2 seconds quicker than yours. His teammate Wayne Sanderson didn't let him through. What will you be getting Wayne for Christmas?
Well, I think the only thing I had in my favor there was I'm pretty sure Justin must have pitted lap 1, so his tires were pretty cooked. That was kind of in the back of my mind, but yeah, I didn't realise that Wayne wasn't letting him through. So thank you, Wayne.
Well, we look forward to seeing you at the final round if you can make it in Adelaide. It won't be a 25.95 kilometre long lap. It's not 170 turns, but
Thank
it will
Christ.
be, yes, I'm sure, walls just as close and closer. What are you expecting? You looking forward to that? Overtaking might be a challenge.
Yeah, I don't mind Adelaide. It's probably my favourite street circuit. But like most Aussie tracks, everyone seems to be pretty quick there. So it's probably just the same attitude as I had tonight. Just try and keep it clean and see where you end up, I guess. Good qualities are definitely important there. So I might bang a few more laps out and try and get on the pace for next week.
Well, best of luck. Best wishes to the team, and see you there.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. Good on you.
From the roads of the Green Hell to the streets of Adelaide. Next week, we go to the season finale of RaceKraft V8 Vets Season 27. And that will be on the Adelaide Street Circuit, and it will be live here on SimSpeed TV. Same time again. It's a great track to have added to iRacing recently. It looks spectacular. It's everything you know. Yeah, I mean, Caltex, well, that'd probably be an Ampol now. But we look forward to it immensely. It'll be incredibly familiar to all of us. We love racing at Adelaide, and hopefully iRacing gives us all of our money's worth as well. Congratulations to the race winner Wayne Walker, to driver of the day Ken Latter, to our RaceKraft V8 Vets admins scurrying around trying to make sure we got a race in as best we could. Give everyone some racing on their Thursday night, and we look forward to seeing you at the finale. Thank you to everyone who makes this broadcast and this championship possible. It is, of course, RaceKraft, Logitech G, Nova Sim Sports, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Project Fade Streetwear, our safety car sponsor, M1 Used Cars, who are supporters of the Balin Stewart Foundation and of RaceKraft V8 Vets Driver of the Day, and LGC Images on board as well. David Haynes with Jay Kennedy for SimSpeed TV. We'll see you on the streets of Adelaide in a week.